Hey friends, Rick Green here with today's Constitutional Minute. Today it's about impeachment. I'm just going to give a quick breakdown on how impeachment works. There's a lot of questions swirling around out there. It's a two-part process. So when someone is said to have been impeached, that may or may not mean they were convicted. We throw the term around pretty loosely. So here's how it works. In Article 1 of the Constitution, in Section 2, Paragraph 6, the House of Representatives is given, quote, the sole power of impeachment. And what that means, if you take one of our classes and use the Constitution Made Easy, the plain language of that you'll learn, it means to bring a charge of impeachment. So when the House of Representatives impeaches someone, it's not a conviction. It's like an indictment. It's just like a grand jury who has only heard from the prosecutor saying, you know, there's enough evidence here maybe that we should at least have a trial. And at that point, we'll hear the other side's side of the story, and maybe or maybe not they'll be convicted. That's how a regular trial works. In this case, an impeachment is the House saying, okay, we think there's enough here to at least investigate and have a trial. We'll let the Senate decide, because that's what happens over in Article 1, Section 3, Paragraph 7. Here's what it says. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. So, number one, Chief Justice is going to preside if the President is being impeached, not if a federal judge or others are being impeached. And number two, there's got to be a vote of 2/3. So in this case today, we have 100 people in the Senate, so you got to have 67 say, yes, this person should be impeached. So just remember, there's two parts. There's the indictment or the impeachment in the House, which only requires, better than 50%. Then the House sends it over to the Senate, and the Senate actually has the trial. That's where both sides tell their story, and then you decide whether or not they're guilty, and you got to have 67 of the Senate say yes. Quick history on this. Oh, by the way, what can happen when someone is impeached? That's the next paragraph in Article 1, Section 3. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States, but the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to the indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Here's what that means. If the Senate convicts someone of impeachment, which they've done many times for judges, not a president. A president has never been convicted of impeachment. But if they were to do that, either for a judge or anyone else, number one, they can remove them from office, and number two, they can bar them or disqualify them from running for office in the future. Sometimes in the past, we've impeached a federal judge, for instance, and not barred them from running for office, and that federal judge ended up running for Congress and winning. I know, unbelievable how that happened. But anyway, that's what can happen when someone is actually impeached. Okay, quick history on this. The presidents that have been impeached so far: Andrew Johnson in 1868, and this was over some pretty bogus claims. He did get impeached in the House, which means he was indicted, if you will, went over to the Senate, and the Senate did not convict him, but it was really close. He barely escaped conviction by only one vote. The vote was 35-19. Okay, that was Andrew Johnson. Nixon was the next one. He was not impeached. People today say he was impeached. He wasn't. He resigned before the impeachment actually took place. So he didn't even get the indictment part where the House says, we're impeaching you and sending it to the Senate for a conviction. The committee had voted out articles of impeachment. The House was probably, if you look at the numbers and what everybody was saying, going to impeach him in the House, and the Senate was probably going to convict him, and that's why he resigned. Then President Bill Clinton was impeached in the House for committing perjury. He lied under oath, and so he was impeached in the House, went over to the Senate. The Senate did not convict. It was a 50-50 vote. 67 were needed. And then at the time of this recording, President Trump has been impeached in the House. All Democrats, not a single Republican voting for it, and for the Democrats refusing to vote for it. But he has been impeached in the House, and eventually we'll see a trial in the Senate, and most likely there's no way that it'll get to 67. But that's how impeachment works. It's important for us to know this. Impeachment should be used more often with federal judges. It is the tool that the Founding Fathers said was like a bridle. Think about a bridle when you're riding a horse. It controls that bit in the mouth of the horse. The Founding Fathers said in the Federalist Papers that impeachment is the bridle that the legislature can use on the courts. That's how you keep the court in check, is by making sure you impeach judges when they go beyond the constitutional jurisdiction of the courts, which happens all the time. So impeachment is something we should do more often. When it comes to the courts, And I'm not so sure on presidents. I mean, it should be that they actually committed a crime, and there's actually 4 specific areas that they have to have committed a crime for it to be an impeachable offense. So I would argue that even with President Trump, there's not an impeachable offense that has taken place. But let's not go down that rabbit trail. The important thing out of this Constitutional Minute is to know how impeachment works according to the Constitution. I'm Rick Green. You've been watching today's Constitutional Minute.